Welcome to Wish I Had Known, the show where hindsight meets insight. Host Jody Lamb has worn many hats in the world of finance, from navigating the intricacies of financial planning to unraveling the mysteries of insurance claims and diving deep into the realm of structured settlements. Each episode explores the topics that make you say, if only I had known this sooner. Join the conversation as we uncover the insights that can make all the difference. This is Wish I Had Known, because knowledge is power and hindsight is 20/20.
Hi, I'm Jody Lamb. I'm here today with Eric Blake, a certified financial planner with Blake Wealth Management. I am calling on him today for Jody's one question, the one topic, the one conversation that you want to hear. He is the host of the Simply Retirement podcast and helps women who are preparing for retirement and has a wonderful story to share. But today we're going to ask you, Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into what your one question is.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So I've been a financial advisor since 1999, meaning I've gone through all the ups and downs, Y2K, 9/11, great financial crisis, seen it all. A few years ago, we started our primary focus working with women who are approaching retirement, typically less than 5 years from retirement, where they're really in that critical phase of making these important decisions about Social Security, about taxes, about income planning, to make sure that they can live the retirement that they deserve.
I mean, that sounds ideal.
You think so?
Yeah, sign me up. Okay, so I'm not quite yet 5 years from retirement, but I'm a definite planner. So if I'm going to be anticipating retirement in the next 5 years, here's your one question. Okay, what are the three big things that I need? What variables do I need to take consideration, or what do I need to be prepared for to have an ideal or best set up retirement?
So that's a great question. And realistically, the three keys to a successful retirement for women are really you'd make the argument that they're the same three keys for anybody. But when we're thinking about women who are approaching retirement on their own, which is our primary focus, the three keys really come down to, number one, we want to talk about optimizing Social Security benefits. And optimizing is different than maximizing. And most people, a lot of times when you talk to a financial advisor, you talk to anybody, you hear maximizing Social Security, which simply means trying to get the highest benefit. A lot of times that makes the most sense, but there are several situations where it may not make the most sense. You may need to start Social Security earlier for whatever reason, or you may have gone through a divorce, you've been widowed, maybe you have some of these other benefits that are available to you, spousal benefits, ex-spousal benefits, survivor benefits, where based on your specific situation, you need to look at optimizing your Social Security benefits, which also takes into consideration taxes, which is key number two, what I call minimizing your lifetime tax liability. The bottom line is the less you pay in taxes, the better off you're going to be, the longer your money's going to last. Nobody wants to pay more than they should to Uncle Sam. I can use the phrase, we're all okay paying what we think we owe, what's our fair share. We just don't want to give Uncle Sam a tip. So that's key number two. Last one, key three, is investing smarter. We know that, at least historically speaking, statistically speaking, women live longer than men. So the fact is, we have to make sure that your money lasts as long as you do. That's a big key, right? Nobody wants to outlive their money. But that a lot of times takes making sure you're making decisions that are in your best interest when it comes to how do I invest my money? How do I generate an income from my investments that I can't outlive? And there's two big points to that, in that, number one, being too conservative can be just as bad as being too aggressive. A lot of times, when we work with women, which is our primary client base is women who are approaching retirement on their own, they think in their mind, as soon as I retire, I need to be extremely conservative because I don't want to lose anything.
Right.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, except when you think about what's inflation done the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. When inflation's 8% and you can get 6% on a CD, you're still losing money. It's just not because of the market. You're losing purchasing power, which that's the bottom line, is we want to maintain purchasing power throughout retirement, which could be, if you retire when you're 60 or 65, most likely you need another 20, 25, maybe 30 years of income in order to, again, not outlive your money. So from my perspective, those are really the three keys to a successful retirement, especially for women who are facing retirement on their own, is optimizing Social Security, paying as little in taxes as is reasonable, and making sure that you invest smarter.
All right, this speaks totally into my world of structured settlements, y'all. I mean, tax-free, that's right up my alley. I do with investment tax-free, being conservative. We deal with the people that have a lot of medical needs and financial needs, so that absolutely resonates with me. But the one thing that you said that really challenged me is the Social Security. It's not just maximizing Social Security, but optimizing it. And you had shared earlier about tips for even divorced people like myself. I'm now looking at this as an individual facing and looking at retirement planning. So how does that change if we're divorced versus married?
Well, the fact is, most people, they don't really, number one, they may not even be aware that they are eligible for benefits based on an ex-spouse. Now, that could be what we call ex-spousal benefits based on that ex-spouse's work history, meaning that as long as you were married for at least 10 years before you divorced, you've been divorced at least 2 years, and your ex-spouse is at least 62, you could apply for ex-spousal benefits, which is going to be up to a maximum of 50% of that ex-spouse's benefit if that happens to be more than your own benefit. Now, that's again, back to that optimizing thought process. We want to optimize your benefits, but that means we need to understand what your options are.
Is there a limitation on how long it's been since the divorce happened in that application?
Nope. Those are the bottom. 10 years is the key. As long as that marriage lasted at least 10 years, so marriage date to divorce date has to be 10 years. And this is where it varies from spousal benefits. So if it's a married couple, you can still apply for spousal benefits, but the working spouse, let's say the higher earning spouse, they must have filed for their own benefits first before you could file for spousal benefits. That's not always that doesn't have to be the case with ex-spousal benefits.
Oh, okay.
As long as the other spouse, the ex-spouse, is at least 62, you were married for 10 years, and the divorce happened at least 2 years ago, you could potentially still apply for ex-spousal benefits, whether your ex has applied for benefits or not. So that's a big key. Again, if it's a cash flow issue, unfortunately, we know that women, either because they've taken time out of the workforce to take care of family, whether that's children or parents, relatives, where that's typically falls on the women's shoulders, or for whatever reason, they've been out of the workforce. You have 0 years in there. You might even not be eligible for anything, for any type of retirement benefit. But this gives you the option of having some source of income in retirement, which is, again, that ex-spousal benefit. The other thing to be aware of is, and this is really one that people kind of glare over at, and that is you actually could be eligible for ex-spouse survivor benefits. Same rules apply. You've been married, the marriage lasted at least 10 years. You don't get remarried before the age of 60. You could be eligible for ex-spouse survivor benefits, which is whatever that spouse was receiving at the time, that ex-spouse, whatever they were receiving at the time, or what they may have been eligible for, you may be eligible to receive that if that ex-spouse passes away, which is huge, again, from a planning perspective.
So one of the other things that I think that you commented on earlier that I think everybody's going to want to know, we worry about how this is going to impact the ex. Are they going to find out about it? Are they going to have a reduced benefit? Like, what does this mean to the other spouse or the prior spouse?
Well, if the ex-spouse passes away, we're not too worried about it, right? So we don't
no one's
worry about that
complaining.
part. Ex-spousal benefits, though, it doesn't impact them at all. Now, in today's world, there are many scenarios where somebody's married to has multiple ex-spouses where they were married for at least 10 years. Each of those ex-spouses, as long as the marriage lasts at least 10 years, potentially could be eligible for ex-spousal benefits. So they're eligible for up to 50% of that ex-spouse. It doesn't impact that ex-spouse's benefit themselves. Also doesn't impact if that ex-spouse has remarried, say, a third time. Their current spouse doesn't get impacted as well either. So that's a big factor there. And again, it's just understanding how all these rules. Social Security to me is one of the most underrated, undervalued aspects of retirement income planning because it seems straightforward, but there's so many variables that just people aren't aware of. Especially if you think about, maybe you were divorced 20 years ago. people forget about it. Not that they forget that they were divorced, but they kind of forget that whole situation. Either they want to push it behind, keep it in their past. They don't want to think about it anymore. But that could be, ultimately, it could be the difference in thousands of dollars of income by being aware of you being able to receive ex-spouse survivor benefits when that spouse passes. Because again, most likely the woman is going to outlive the man.
Every penny counts. And especially when, like you said, we'll pay our due taxes, but we don't want to give Uncle Sam a tip.
That's
I love
right.
that quote.
Yes.
Okay, so we're 5 years within retirement. We want to get in contact with you. What are the other things that we need to do to mitigate the taxes? And then I want to find out, how do people get in touch with you so they can get more information about their unique situation?
The biggest thing I could encourage is be proactive. Number one, if you're not familiar with how the tax laws work and they change constantly, we had in 2019 we had Secure Act, and then last year we had Secure Act 2.0. So understanding how all these different tax rules and tax laws impact you from a retirement income planning standpoint is crucial. Now, whether you have the opportunity or the time to learn that's a big question. If not, make sure that you're talking to somebody that does. That's a big focus of our practice. Like I said, we spend a lot of time evaluating. I'm one of those people that actually enjoys reading through tax laws and understanding how all this stuff works. Nobody else likes that. But it's crucial for our clients. Again, back to the 3 keys. Optimizing Social Security, minimizing taxes, investing smarter. I always put Social Security there first simply because, again, it's one of those underappreciated planning aspects. The taxes is most likely the most important because you think about in retirement, your biggest expense, it's either going to be healthcare or it's going to be taxes. One of those two. Healthcare, unfortunately, we can't always do something about it. We can try to be as healthy, eat healthily, work out, do all these things that hopefully extend our life and make us as healthy as possible. But taxes is something a lot of people don't think they can control, but in reality you can, but you got to be proactive. You got to understand how the rules, how the laws work. And that's where we come in.
And we all need those experts in our life. So Eric Blake with Blake Wealth Management.
Yes.
How do we find you? How do we get a hold of you?
Best way is to go to blakewealthmanagement.com, and we got a lot of free resources. You can sign up for our newsletter. We've got our blog. You can access our podcast, the Simply Retirement Podcast, where we talk about a lot of these same types of topics that women face as they navigate the retirement journey on their own. The other thing you can do is in the top right corner, we have our Start Here button.
Okay.
Click the Start Here button. You can see the exact process that we go through with every single prospective client to help them make an educated and informed decision about whether we are the right firm for them. And that's a big thing for me is, being in this industry for as long as I have, I believe everybody has the right financial advisor for their situation.
Yeah.
What we've done is we've created a process that we think helps people make a decision about us. Are we the right firm to help them navigate the retirement journey? What I call the Simply Retirement Roadmap process.
The Simply Retirement Podcast. You can always hear them on there as well.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I would love to continue this conversation for longer, but I know you have many demands on your schedule, as do all of our listeners here. Thank you so much for joining us today on Jody's One Question and the one topic, the things that you want to know or you need to know. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please like, share, and subscribe so you can hear all of Jody's chats, so you don't have to say, "Wish I had known."